it's yielding a good return. Good, good. Okay. Slip in that chart. Looks good today. Alright. Should be expecting the appointment any minute now. Any minute. Okay. Just another advisement. High APY, low APR. High APY, low APR. Let's check the pre-screening. Oh, hey. Hey, welcome. Yes. Yes. Are you here for advisement? Yes, that's me. Hey. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. Yeah. Please have a seat. Would you like any, sorry. Would you like any coffee? Any beverages? Okay. Yeah, if you do need to get anything in the middle of our meeting, it's just right down the hall. Yeah, you saw it. Okay. So, let's go ahead and start off with, formalities. What would you like me to call you? I already have your name and everything like that. You did send in a pre-screening, which I really appreciate. It makes this whole process a lot easier. But what would you like me to refer to you as? Okay. All right. Thank you. And how are you doing today? How are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Are you stressed at all, or just kind of looking to plan a little bit? Okay, so not too much stress. That's good. It's good to hear. Yeah. So usually I kind of start out with just running through general stuff that I'd like to go over based off of the pre-screening, which you have submitted. So we can go ahead and start out with that. But do you want to tell me a little bit more, like, about yourself? What income streams do you have? What do you do for a living? And what goals would you like to achieve with our meeting today? Because I would definitely like to know where you'd like to go with your finances here. Not just yap a bunch in your face and tell you random things to do with every which account. It's easier to kind of manage your finances if I know what you want to get out of saving and investing and spending. Okay. Oh, sounds good. Okay, so you wanna cut down a bit on spending, get out of the current debt you have, which, from my report here and what you are telling me, is not too much. Seems doable. Okay. And you want to start putting a little more into savings and investing. Okay. Good to hear. And you want to start building credit. All right, awesome. And you did link one credit card on here. Is that your only credit card so far? Okay. So you just want to look at other cards and ways to utilize credit. That's good. That's very proactive thinking of you. You're already a step ahead of a lot of clients I deal with. You would be, it's absolutely unbelievable where some people are with this stuff. So, it's all good though. This is a judgment-free space. I'm not gonna grill you on anything. I'm just gonna help you figure out where you want certain pieces of your portfolio to go. So, let's go ahead and start out with your accounting. And I mean, not really like the budgeting aspect of it, but quite literally what accounts you have open. So, what I have listed here is I have one checking, and that's through the local branch. Okay, yes, so that's correct. Okay. And just for future notice, these will have balances, all of these accounts and stuff, updated up to about a week ago. So anything you've spent or saved or anything in the last week or made in general does not reflect through these statements. It does take a bit of time to update, so Just do keep that in mind as we go forward. But it shouldn't affect you unless something huge happens last week, like you won the lottery or something, but it's unlikely. Or you just maxed out a bunch of credit cards, which, you say you want to build credit, so I don't imagine that's a problem either. So, yeah, we'll go at that checking account. We confirmed. I have 2 savings under Chase Bank, and then this other one here. Yeah, okay. So you have both of those savings accounts. Good, 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 good. Do you know if I don't know these types of savings accounts off the top of my head. Do you know if you're compounding anything with these? Okay. So, yeah, very low rates. That's to be expected with the, normal banking savings accounts. Typically, those have around 1.1 annual yields, which is what I'm going to guess these two are around. But we can look into that later in our appointment and see how much you're actually making when we start kind of creating a budget for you. Because you said that's something you also wanted to do, right? Okay. Okay, we can easily do that for you. So, we're going to start out with, let's go ahead and tackle this credit. So your credit line is currently open. It's saying you have about 300 balance that you need paid off. So is that the stuff you wanted to figure out? Okay, so you just can't put a lot aside for that right now. That is all good. Just write that down. So you can't put that aside. Okay. So what is that for, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, new TV. Well, congratulations, you got a new TV. You're in debt for it now, so you don't quite own it yet. But we can get you to the point where you do own your TV. You don't have to worry a lot about it. So, is there any reason you can't pay off this debt right now? No savings. Okay. Well, yeah, I did see that your balances are pretty low in both of your savings accounts. Is there any reason you have 2 right now? Gotcha. Okay. So one was your emergency fund, and you just spent that on a couple of new tires. Yeah, no, that'll take it right out. And then the other one you were trying to build up, but you didn't get the chance to before you sunk your other emergency fund, which is fine. Did you do that just to diversify your savings? Good, yeah. Typically, even with all of our modern checks and balances within our banking systems, it is good to diversify a lot of our assets, not only in investing, of course, but in savings. You might want some separate checking accounts, maybe if you have a larger amount that you're spending, but that's very good practice. I'm very happy to hear that from you, that you do want to diversify, but we will have to figure out how to diversify your current income, because a lot of that is being spent. I see here you did want to cut down on that a little bit, so that's all good. We can do that today as well. Yeah, we do want to tackle that debt quickly as possible. We usually want to start with smaller debts, moving on to larger debts, which it doesn't seem like you have any larger debts right now, which is awesome. So what we want to focus on here, and what I usually do with clients, is we tackle smaller debts and then move on to larger debts. Sorry, I keep thinking of depths in my head. I don't know why. I'm very bad with these finance words. But I will give you the proper advice to handle your finances here. Rest assured. So, you only have this small amount of debt here. I know $300 is kind of a lot. But with what I'm seeing in your spendings here, we can cut a lot of that down and get that paid off pretty quickly. And that's all the debt you seem to have, and that's all on one credit card. And it's not overdue yet. You just bought this 2 weeks ago? Okay, awesome, awesome. So, yeah, that'll be nice to go ahead and tackle, get out of the way. We don't have to do any complicated debt payment methods. We don't have to do our debt snowball method. I know that's very popular with Dave Ramsey. He uses that to help people pay off larger amounts of debt, but you don't have much. So my best advice for you on that end of things is do not go into more debt. And we can talk more about how to utilize your credit card a little later. I can help you figure that out and figure out how to allocate a certain amount of spending to building that credit instead of going into debt and, potentially, burning a hole in our pocket. So, yeah, of course, just don't sink further into debt. As long as you just kind of consistently charge your credit card, you should be fine. Everything else I would highly advise paying for in cash. But again, we can talk about that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and talk about stacking up some savings, because that is going to be one very, very high priority before you do end up paying off any potential debt you have in the future. So what I would advise you do is, so you already have two savings accounts open. What I would do is try to save $1,000 over the next short period if you can. From what I'm seeing on spending and what I'll advise you to cut back on, you should be able to in about 1 to 2 months, which is awesome. And that seems like a very good time frame to, get that $1,000 emergency fund. I know. How much did those 2 tires cost? Awesome. So you already had a pretty good amount saved away for emergencies there, which is awesome to hear. So you probably have already taken that advice from somebody else. I know it seems like not much. I mean, you just bought 2 tires with that $1,000. But the entire point of having $1,000 as your starter emergency fund is to make the point that you are able to save that out of what you are currently making. And so you can put more towards your savings and just kind of have that to fall back on for any smaller emergencies. Because $1,000 isn't going to cover every emergencies. I mean, it still didn't like 10 years ago before inflation got insane. But I mean, it's still, it's not just to kind of cover those small emergencies or happenings. It is just to prove that you can save $1,000, which it seems like you can do, or have recently found the initiative to, do that. So that shouldn't be a problem for you. So I'll just write in your report here. Just save up that 1,000 again, and we can look at saving up more once we tackle debt. So, yeah, what I would do, honestly, is put aside $300 first from what goes into your checking to pay off the debt before the statement closes, so you're not overdue on any balances. And then I would start to save up $1,000 from there. So, we're going to go ahead and I might grill you a little bit here. I'm sorry, but it's necessary to figure out what we want to cut down on with spending, because you do have a really good income here, but we don't want that all going on spendings. So, of course, we're going to go as far as budgeting with a pay yourself first method. What is your rent payment? Because I know you mentioned you did have that, but you didn't list anything for that. Okay, that is a pretty doable figure there. That's actually about 1/3, right on the dot of your monthly income, so that's perfect. And then is utilities separate from that? Okay, I'd actually imagine, because that's a really good rent price. So that much for utilities. Good. Okay, phone bills through Mint. Your internet's through... Okay, that's a good provider. Okay. Alright, so it's pretty good. You got rent, utilities down. Could you give me any type of estimate at all for your groceries? No. Okay. Do you do any meal prep week to week? Ooh, okay, so that is something I'd like to drill in on. If we could potentially, you are a single person in your household, right? You're not providing for anyone else. Okay, awesome. So there definitely is some corners we can cut with groceries. We can still have a pretty healthy food budget with about $400 to $500. Well, maybe about $500. It's a little more realistic for you, um, seeing how you spend on your groceries here. So, what I would highly recommend for you when spending on groceries is to make a meal prep, make a shopping list. Just do your weekly meals, as well as snacks and just other general things you need from the grocery store. And we can put that into your grocery budget. And we'll actually go about 500 to 600, since you will have a lot more money to spend on groceries once we figure out your spending here. So let's move on to your checking account. So I was a bit disappointed to see, and of course, again, no judgment here, but it is something I'd like to see you improve on, is spendings on a few of these miscellaneous categories here. So I see you are a big DoorDash user, just like the rest of us, which is totally fine. It's nice to have food delivered to your door every once in a while, but we don't want to make a weekly habit of it. I'm seeing about an average of 3 times a week on DoorDash. Is there anywhere we could potentially cut down on that, or maybe just cut that out entirely? How much is it costing you? It is costing you about an extra 100 every week. Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, no, people don't realize how much it actually costs on a weekly basis. So you think you can cut down on that? Okay, awesome. Awesome, yeah. So if you could just cut that out entirely, um, oh, you're saying it's more like, oh, I didn't see those previous weeks. Yeah, it is more like 200 that you're spending on DoorDash. Okay, yeah. So I would recommend you completely cut out DoorDash and just meal prep, make your own meals. But it seems that you're kind of in the middle of shifting your financial mindset. Is meal prep and budgeting for groceries something you're willing to do? Okay, good. That's the hard part out of the way then. As long as you're willing to plan and budget and think ahead there, I think you're going to do great in the coming months, and you're really going to see your savings flourish. So, moving on here, we have a lot of event spending. I get it, we live in a busy area with a lot of events, but maybe we want to cut down on that event and restaurant spending a little bit, because it seems like you go out a lot on weekends. Is that correct? Okay. So it seems like you're going out both nights. Maybe we could cut down like one night we spend at home to relax. Maybe we just kind of do like some budget-friendly activities with friends. Maybe we, have drinks at somebody's place. It could be your place, someone else's. Maybe instead of like going out to a restaurant, we do like a cool TV dinner somewhere at someone's place, or you do a game night somewhere, or you can do watch parties online, games online, whatever is your friend group's forte. I do all of that with my friend group, and it works out great. Not surprisingly, because you just kind of have to keep in mind before you go out and do all that expensive hangout stuff, which I know is tempting. I want to go out all the time too. I would love to eat out more than I do. But I mean, that is a lot more entertainment than it is, just feeding yourself. So, yeah, okay. So, what do you think you can cut out of that monthly? Because we're already saving about like 600 to 800 if we cut out DoorDash, which is a lot. Okay, that's actually not much considering what you spend on the weekends there. Okay. And then personal spendings. So, you have bought a lot of miscellaneous items recently. Are you expecting to have any more like serious personal finances that you're worried about? Like any more just miscellaneous items? Okay. Alright, you're saying you should be able to cut down on that. Okay. Do you need any kind of budgeting app to help you with spending? Yeah, okay. So, Rocket Money is what we usually recommend, we have a sponsorship through them, but I can personally say as well that they are a very good budgeting app for any of your spending needs. And they're free. You don't have to buy like any kind of premium service to see what you're spending. It's very, very good. And you also get credit reports through there. I know you said you wanted to build credit as well, so we can get that for you. And we can get you set up on that today as well when we write out your budget later, fully. So I'm just trying to get some info so we can kind of build on that. So I do want to get into, so we kind of have your savings situation. We know what you're going to cut down. We know what you're going to put into savings generally. So to figure out the rest of your budget, I would like, because you do make a good little bit a month, so we can go ahead and start not only saving up for, emergency funds and just advance expenses monthly, but we do want to start looking at putting money into investment accounts and retirement. Do you have anything in retirement yet? Okay, so you have a traditional IRA. That's good. And who is that through? Awesome. Awesome. They're a good place to have that through. How much do you have in there? Okay, 500. It's not too bad to start out with. So what I would recommend is, you can keep funding your traditional, but what I would actually recommend you do once you start playing with investment accounts is open up a Roth IRA. Now what that will do is it's a non-taxable retirement account. Your earnings are not taxed when they are cashed out in about 40 years. So since you're still relatively young, I think this would be a really good time to open that and start contributing. With your income, you should be well below the threshold to contribute a maximum of $7,000 a year into the Roth IRA. So if you diversify what you contribute into that each year, I would recommend going 50% of your contributions into an index fund like the S&P 500, which will inflate over 40 years time, which is typically when you'll cash out your Roth, and that'll steadily grow and get you a little bit of cash there on an index fund. Then I would recommend any other just like general index funds or high dividend stocks. Apple, Home Depot, Procter and Gamble, JP Morgan is a really good one as well. Coca-Cola, just generally stocks like that that will return regularly with dividends. So that will again help fund that retirement account. So you not only get your funds from the contributions that you put in each year, you also get a lot of your return on your stocks and your index funds. So I would highly recommend opening that up. And that is a very good retirement avenue, as well as your traditional IRA. I think that's a good thing to have as well, but probably contribute a little less to it because you're not going to be able to compound the growth in there as much as you will in a Roth IRA. So I'd advise that you open a Roth IRA through that same service and just utilize it a little bit more than your traditional. Of course, you can still contribute to your traditional, but yeah, I would, once you're in a stable place, once you have this small amount of debt paid off, and you have about 3 to 6 months saved in expenses in your emergency fund, we can start putting about 15% towards retirement. Okay, so speaking of compounding growth, would you be interested in potentially opening up another savings account? Yeah, okay. And I ask you that because we have a few really, really good high yield options. So basically, do you know what annual percentage yield means? Yeah, it's just, yeah. So it's basically the same as like compounding. So it's basically the annual percentage, the yearly percentage that returns into your savings account. So that's money from the bank that will be returned depending on the annual what do I want to call it here? Yeah, the annual contribution into your savings accounts. And that might divide up monthly depending on which bank you open that with. So you could be looking at, a few dollars a month at least if you go ahead and start saving up in a high yield with one of our recommended banks. Do you want me to put you down for that? Okay. Yes. Yeah, no, I personally own a high yield savings myself. It works amazing. Yeah. No, just I'm gonna put down a few options for you. We have Marcus is a really good one recently. SoFi as well. What else? Ally, I think, has a high yield right now. But I would definitely recommend Marcus or SoFi. They have really good rates right now. Up to 4.6, I believe, which is really good. The higher rates are like 4.6, 4.7 without opening an account that has different qualifications for something like a 5% yield, which is very, very high, considering how things are right now. But we can get that done for you as well. We can open that up and start getting some good compounds on not only your retirement funds, but also your savings. So, yeah, sounds like a good plan there. Right, and then investing. Do you have any individual brokerage accounts or anything like that? Oh, you have a Robinhood. Awesome. How much is in there? Okay, so you just have a few hundred that you like to buy individuals with. Do you like higher volatility investments, or do you just kind of play around with the stock market? Okay, you just kind of play around with it a little bit. That's a good approach. I think I wouldn't go for high volatility investments until you have some money to sink in there, and of course until you can make more educated investment decisions. That's a good plan, I think. So yeah, I mean, you already have that open through Robinhood. I wouldn't really advise opening up a individual brokerage through a bank or anything unless you feel like you need to, which at this point you shouldn't have to. Okay. So one thing I do want to loop around back to before we finalize on our budget here, or writing our budget here, is credit. You said you wanted to build credit. So your current credit line, I know this credit card actually. It's a pretty general credit card. It does have 1% back with 3% on rotating categories. Cashback. Yeah, you didn't even know that? Oh, wow. Yeah. So you are getting a little bit of cashback for your spend. But it's really not a lot. I mean, if you spent $1,000, you'd only be getting 10% back with a 1% rate for that. Yeah, I mean, it's $10 is still a lot. Don't get me wrong. For cashback, but I mean that rate can be higher. So I can recommend you some cards that would be really good to start on. So along your credit journey, and I want to be very careful in advising people of this because this can go very, very good or very, very poorly. So I do want to give you a little bit of a disclaimer before you do apply for any cards or go after any cool bonuses or cashback or travel miles or anything like that. When you spend on a credit card, I want you to adopt a mindset that you are being intentional with purchases and that this is something that you would have been purchasing with your debit card anyway. And I want you to really just crack down on your spending, seeing how much money is coming out of one account, and we can kind of just go from there. It seems like you've been really careful not to get into too much debt so far, more so just spending everything that hits your checking account. So maybe you can work out with employers to maybe put direct deposits or some direct deposits into savings and kind of diversify what's going where. So you can actually remember to not only pay your bills and pay yourself and, have an adequate amount for spending for yourself because, you're in a decent situation right now where you are allowed to spend a little bit and have fun, but you also want to make sure you have enough to put away for savings and retirement, first and foremost. So, yeah, but it looks like you're in a good mindset to do that right now, which is awesome. I love to see that from clients, and just makes everything a whole lot easier. I see you've been trying to break a lot of your habits here. So, yeah, what I would recommend to you is just initially, since you are spending like a good bit on rent, Built MasterCard is a very good one to go with for starting your travel miles. I don't believe that one has a high annual fee. I just got turned on to that. I actually just got it myself. So one of the big sellers on that card is you can actually get cash back on paying for your rent, which is awesome. So that's why I recommend it to you, is you can get a flat 1% cash back for rent, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, but they can't really jack up cash back for rent. That's not very feasible to do. So the fact that there is a card that you can even do that with is awesome. So I recommend Built MasterCard to anybody who's paying the rent anyway. The downside to that is you are going to have 5 separate purchases on that card besides rent. So if you just want to use it as like a coffee card or something, that would be a really good use for it as well. And it gets you a lot of travel miles. No cash back. But if you're a big traveler, I would definitely recommend Built MasterCard. It's easy to accrue miles by just paying your rent. So, yeah. Or, sorry, did I say 1% cashback earlier? I meant like 1x on miles. Yeah, 1x on miles. So sorry. I get cashback and miles confused all the time in the credit card space. But we can move on to some cashback cards if that's what you're more interested in. Yeah? Okay. And I guess I should have initially asked you this. Is there any bank that you want to use more when it comes to credit cards? Awesome. Yes, I would definitely recommend Chase. They have some very, very good cards. No, your friends were very correct in recommending that to you. So, what I would recommend generally starting out, since you don't have a very big credit age, is the Chase Trifecta. So this consists of 2 of Chase's Freedom cards, both of which are cashback, and then one of their Sapphire cards, either the Sapphire Reserve or Sapphire Preferred. For you, I would recommend the Preferred. It's a $95 annual fee. That's the only annual fee you will pay for any of these 3 credit cards. The other 2 are no annual fees. And that will get you a big bonus on miles after you reach the spending threshold, which it's looking like you should be able to. It's about $4,000 within 3 months. So, yeah, once you figure out how to do your savings and stuff, if you have any bigger expenses coming up, that would be a really good one to apply for. I would recommend, though, just under the table here, apply when they have the, I think it's the 90,000 bonus miles instead of like the 60, 70, because they do change those offers pretty consistently, and you can get higher miles if you wait to apply. So, yeah, I would recommend you specifically the Sapphire Preferred, because the Reserve does have a few cool benefits like lounge access and stuff like that, and you get the same stuff with like Amex Gold and Platinum cards, but honestly, I don't think that's worth the $600 annual fee compared to the $95 annual fee that you would pay with the Preferred. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's for much higher spenders. And so, travel miles is something that you're looking to build up, right? I mean, you can still use these points for a whole bunch of cash back, but okay, awesome, yeah. I mean, if you're planning vacations, the Sapphire cards are really good for that. Get you a lot of bonus miles, and you're able to build up a lot of miles with those as well. So, the other 2 cards are the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which has a fixed rate of 1.5% cashback for universal purchases, 3% cashback on dining and drugstores, and 5% cashback on travel. So this would be any expenses that you experience during traveling. And you can do a lot of that through like Chase Booking, Chase Dining, all of that kind of stuff for hotels, flights, any dining you want to do on your trip, anything like that. So you get 5% back on that, which is really cool. So good if you're kind of just a regular spender and general traveler. And the other cashback card is the Chase Freedom Flex. So the Freedom Flex has the same base rate on universal purchases, but it has a 5% cashback on rotating categories every quarter. So Chase actually has a calendar online if you want to check that out and see if the Freedom Flex is worth it for you to get. But that's the credit card setup I would most likely go with. I know it sounds like a lot of credit cards, but it is generally recommended that you open up multiple accounts and have a nice credit mix. It will ding your credit score because you are going to get a couple of hard inquiries there, but it won't last for long. And as long as you keep a generally low credit utilization, besides reaching your spending thresholds for the credit bonuses, because I believe the Freedom Flex and Unlimited both come with 200 each after you spend 500, which is why I would recommend those cards over the Amex cards right now, because they just have much better bonuses and much better cash back for what you're getting, and they're no annual fee. Sorry, I can't say annual today. It's awful. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, so would you say there's any other banks you're looking at doing credit with, or is Chase kind of what you want to stick with? Okay, but you want to look at Amex in the future. Okay, I would say once you have enough to reach those spending thresholds with Amex, I know some of them are like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, but I wouldn't do that. I would just go for the 4,000 with the Sapphire Preferred whenever you have a big expense. I wouldn't really try to build up with Amex because they just have, you're spending a lot more for the same bonuses you're getting with Chase. So I would definitely recommend starting out with Chase, but eventually, I would definitely recommend if you remain in good standing to move up to gold, platinum cards, and really just milk the benefits of what Amex has to offer. So yeah, it's looking like your credit score is already pretty good. I mean, you've had this account open for a few months and you've been good on payments. You just have been really rocky with spending lately, which is fine. You just need to kind of figure out how to organize all that. So yeah, it's been awesome working with you so far. Yes. My name is Jamie. My card's right here on the end of my desk if you'd like to contact me about anything. Usually you can reach me by phone during business hours, and sometimes I'll check my email after hours if you really need some advice. But yeah, if you find any trouble with the budget that I'll put through our computer here for you, you just let me know and we can take care of things, okay? It's been awesome working with you today. So yeah, feel free to grab any kind of beverage on your way out. That break room right there is not just for us, it's for our clients as well. So if you want to just pour yourself a cup of coffee and enjoy the rest of your day, that's totally fine by us. All right, I can't wait to meet with you again.